we've got Chris Harris on my right from New Season Market, and then we have Jeremy Smith from Charlie's Produce, and Jean Versteeg from Market of Choice was supposed to also be on this panel, but he sends his regards. He had some store issues to deal with. So his information's in the back. And I know that there are a few other produce buyers in the audience. And so at any point during these discussions, by all means, we'd encourage you to speak up as well. Kristen, Jeremy, I'm going to get you both obviously to introduce yourselves and your business, and also how how local fresh strawberries or fresh strawberries in general work into your programs. And again, something that has worked well for you both from a local fresh strawberry, and then in the past, and then what's been more of a stumbling block that you've had to learn from, kind of pulling local fresh in. All right. So Jeremy, why don't we start with you?
Great. My name is Jeremy Smith. I work for Charlie's Produce in Portland, and we're a wholesaler that distributes both to retail grocery stores as well as restaurants. We have been in the business for about 40 years, and in Portland for about 14 now. So strawberries is a pretty big deal to us. It's in fact, I was just mentioning to Chad that in a year, the 52 weeks, we carry them year round, and obviously there's probably 50 of them that they come from California exclusively. So strawberries locally are a big interest for us. They're probably one of the highest demand items weekly, and it tends to be one of those fruits that we can hang our hat on. So we're always looking for something out there that does have the flavor profile and also some shelf life. And that is probably what is the biggest challenge that has brought this group here today. So we have distribution centers in 4 locations, one in Portland, one in Seattle, one in Spokane, one in Anchorage, Alaska, and the problem's the same for all of us. So we would love to find a berry that has probably that Albion type of, I don't know what you would call it, but the makeup of it so that it does have a balance of flavor and shelf life that we can go to market, because the California berry has proven that in this market it will continue to be asked for by the consumer and drive great sales. So the opportunity certainly exists, and we're hoping we can help each of you guys with any questions and drive some opportunity for all of us.
I'm Chris Harris, the local produce buyer for New Seasons Market, and we're a chain of grocery stores in the Portland area. We opened our first store in 2000, and we just opened our 13th store last August. We've got 2 more stores coming next year, and then 2 more stores the following year. And we've been selling fresh local strawberries for many years now, and we've had a lot of ups and downs with them, but it's really a huge part of our summer fruit promotional season, and it's especially the hoods, the 3 to 4 weeks there in June, where we sell incredible amounts of hoods, and customers ask for them by name. The only way we've been able to get it to work is direct delivery to the stores, daily delivery. They're just too perishable to go through a warehouse or a distribution center. For us, we sell them in open pints and half flats. We sell about the same volume of open pints as we do half flats through the season. As we also sell day neutral varieties, but they never sell as well. we do have some customers who are starting to ask for them by name. Some customers will ask for the Albions by name, but the sales still are not even close to what we do in the 3 weeks that the hoods are there. There are some advantages. It's not the total craziness and madness that it is for the 3 weeks when we're trying to deal with hoods. But I think there's a lot of competition from other berries that come on. Once blueberries and raspberries and caneberries and everything else comes on, and cherries and other summer fruits, I think it takes a lot away. The early June strawberries, I think part of it is they're the first big summer thing. The sales have been constrained for us largely by finding a consistent supply of really high quality berries. As we've grown to 13 stores, we've outgrown some of our traditional suppliers, and it's been difficult to find new growers who can fit with that consistency and quality and be able to deliver to the stores. So that's been kind of our successes and failures. And then, of course, weather throws us a curve of some sort every year, which makes every year a different challenge.
Okay, so I think we can open it up for questions from the audience. Do you have any? Okay, well, we'll start with Arnie and then move up.
How much volume do you need for a grower to set him up as a vendor?
How much volume do you need for a grower to set him up as a vendor? Is that question.
I know on the wholesale side for us, if you're going to be coming in or we're going to be picking up, if it was less than 20, 30 cases at a time, it wouldn't be worth it to us to stop our truck to pick it up. I don't know if that would make it worth it for somebody to bring it to our location, but anything smaller than that is really going to be looked at as it's just going to be too small.
That's per day?
That would be per day, yes.
We don't have any specific volume requirements. We have people who sell us a few boxes to hundreds of boxes. So it just depends on how it fits in with our overall program. But we don't have any. We deal with little tiny, urban farms to people who have hundreds of acres. So no specific requirements for us.
There was a question.
Do you want your growers to pack it for you or to sell you more in bulk and you do the packing, or you sell in bulk at the stores?
Chris is maybe different than mine. Ours have to be in the cases that are either a half flat or a full flat or a flat with clamshells. They have to have labeling and all of the detail from the pack, because we are a SQF certified warehouse, so we have to have that traceability. I think Julie had mentioned that at one point during her panel discussion, and that's becoming a much bigger priority for all of our customers. So it's a requirement.
Yeah, we prefer them packed as well, and we like the open pints and the half flats. We just don't have the labor to be packing them in the stores, and we want our staff on the floor helping customers.
Well,
You be GAP certified or any type of certificate?
GAP certification for us.
Yeah, we don't require that at this point.
Matt?
How many would you be needing? How many could you take?
Boy, what I can tell you is that last week we sold 800 cases of California berries in just Portland. So
does that potential change through the year? I mean, I assume that it
yeah,
does.
I would say locally, I would put at the peak probably a third of that, because of all of the other summer fruit. Matt Newman's our sales manager for Charlie's Port. Would you think a bigger number or less? More so?
We've really found our ceiling yet.
Right.
We've been dabbling in it for a few years, and it's all about identifying the end user and who you're going to partner with, and if they support the program, then I think the sky's the limit for us.
One of the things that I will mention in our process, which is is a little bit different from the retail direct store delivery. The one way that we do find for it to be successful is that the berries do have to be cooled down. We're getting delivery the day that they're picked, or that's the hope, and then we're distributing the following day to the customer. So when they are cooled down, they do have a better performance, and the receipt at the customer level is a higher satisfaction.
I don't think you need to talk to him about how much berries he's bringing you back. Yeah, since you mentioned the cooling thing, we've found the best success with berries that are picked a day ahead of time and cooled through forced air cooling and then delivered to the stores the next day has been the most successful for us. We find we get better shelf life off of them from that.
Tom, you had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, it has to do with varieties of cultivars. But Chris, if you're specifying hoods, you're really limiting the potential of the growers out there who can serve you. Are you guys interested in other varieties or working with growers for some of these newer varieties?
Okay, I'm just repeating that question. It seems like there's a preference to hoods that was spoke of earlier. Is there any leeway to expand into other varieties, and how would that work from your business perspective?
So it's not that I'm specifically asking for hood, that's what my customers are asking for. I would love to find another variety that that we could move the same volume and that would satisfy our customers. I mean, hoods are just as difficult for a retailer to deal with as they are for growers to deal with. So I feel the same pains that you guys do, definitely. So I totally understand that. So I would love to work to find new varieties that maybe have some of those qualities that customers are looking for in hoods, but have other qualities that would make them more user friendly for me and for growers. Something maybe the growers would get a better yield from, and that would have a longer shelf life for both of us, but would still have the flavor components and the kind of mouth feel quality that people look for hoods for. So we'd definitely be interested in that. But we found it to be an uphill battle convincing people that they should buy a different strawberry. I think part of it is just the quality of the hoods, just their nature, the flavor, the texture, the mouthfeel. I think part of it is also just the mythology that's surrounding that variety and the way that's just kind of been built up. And maybe with future generations that mythology won't be there, but it's definitely there now.
And I'd say ditto.
Just a follow-up on that. I know you guys do have California strawberries in your stores. If you had an Oregon Albion next to a California Albion, couldn't you market that as a local sourced berry?
Did everybody hear the question?
Oh, absolutely, and we do. Yeah, because we sell, like I said, the huge volume that we do is in the hoods, but we sell Albions all throughout the season, local Albions throughout the season as well. And we carry both a conventional and organic when we can. And we'll sell, if we, depending on what's available, a lot of times we'll sell a conventional local Albion and a organic California, unless I can get organic local, then we'll go all local.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned this 3 or 4 week window that you have on those hoods. Is that same sort of demand there if the hoods were available, say, instead of typical June period, first week of May or anything like that? Would that still?
The demand's definitely there if it was earlier. I'm not sure about later. I'm not sure about that just because, like I said, there's more competition that comes on from other berries once we get later into the season. So I'm not sure. It's possible. The season has always been stopped for us by supply running out. So we've never gotten to that point where it got beat out by competition, but that might happen.
Jeremy, any?
I would agree. Well, to, I guess, give you a comparison, our peak berry season, and this is actually embarrassing, but it's February. So that's when we sell the most strawberries. But if we had a supply during the local season, we could turn that into a difference, and we don't have that. So we are certainly interested in it. And I think to make one other point on the local and the marketing, that's kind of something that we do in our distribution model. We provide a lot of education to our customers, whether it's an independent retailer or if it's a restaurant. And so if there was a different variety out there, and I was kind of jabbing Chad a little bit for some info, but we would love it, and we would be interested in marketing it and helping grow that brand, label, variety, whatever it is. We spend time down in California working with the California strawberry growers because it's such a big commodity to us. We'd certainly prefer to move that up here. We have to pay, $2 approximately a case in freight to move it from there to here. So if I don't have to pay that much to move something across, part of the country, it's a positive for everybody.
And have you found your marketing of a new variety to be successful, or how does that work out?
Not on strawberries, but we carry 2,000 items, and so we can market a new variety.
It sounds like strawberry needs to be.
We've done it with apples, peaches, nectarines, raspberries. So there's been success across the board. It can be done quite easily, in fact.
But how do we make that connection? Because you say you'd be interested in marketing if it was right.
Right.
But how do you? No, but we don't have fruit here. They've got to see the fruit and make a decision though. So what's the format to make that decision? Should you be coming to our field days to see what's fresh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we're doing fresh this. Yeah, that's true.
So there is going to be a fresh market to blind tasting that's going to happen this spring. And it sounds like a lot of the produce buyers are going to be invited to attend it. Along with other folks in the industry. So hopefully, that can be a step towards moving that forward, for sure.
Yeah, we'd love to be involved in that process, and I think it's also something where we could get our customers involved once we got to a point too. That's really the test are the customers going to respond positively to it? It's always good to start small and see how they react and then build on that record.
Go ahead, Mike.
So minimum days for shelf harvest, for shelf life. What is we know what maximum is, I'm going to assume, when you get a load in off from California. What are you looking at for days from when it comes in your warehouse to when you put it out, and for when the retailer is going to be satisfied before it comes off the shelf? But with the June bear, what is your minimum that you can get away with?
Right. So I'll speak first to California because it'll give you an example of the disparity. Today we get strawberries direct in from California at least 3 and usually 4 times a week. You can have carryover. Our goal is that we're selling out every time that next truck is coming. But a California strawberry in our warehouse, which is a controlled environment, 100% at 36 to 38 degrees, will last at least 5 days. Could be as many as 7 before you see really, truly any breakdown. Oregon berries, whatever's left over after that, we get them in the afternoon, we distribute them the next day. By that afternoon, we're already seeing breakdown. So it's big.
So what's your retailer that's getting that June bear, what are they saying? That's where the problem lies. We got to be able to move it. If they were coming to you, and that's with the distribution center, it takes time to move it. It pretty much got to be that day and then to the customer that day.
So the way we manage that program is that we pre-sell them, and it limits the amount of sales you can do because the amount of risk a retailer is going to pre-purchase something is certainly less than they would if they knew on a Saturday they could maybe sell 100 cases, but they know they got to pre-order them, so they're going to say, yeah, maybe give me 40, maybe give me 50. Not all of the supermarkets are like Chris's, where they can receive a direct delivery. A lot of them require some sort of traceability, and they'll use us. And there's also many that don't want to mess with additional invoicing, receiving, et cetera, and that's how this local berry ends up being distributed through somebody like Charlie's Produce. So how we get them to, I guess, get a little bit more shelf life, that's what I don't know. So,
And even though we're doing direct deliveries, we still face, some of the same problems with that. And that, when you talked about people not being as aggressive because they're having to pre-order, we have the same thing with our stores. They don't want to have any berries left over for the next day because they're not going to be able to put them out. So a lot of times they won't order. They won't order enough to sell that day, and then they'll realize that about halfway through the day, and then they're calling the growers back and begging them to come out and bring them more. So we face that same problem with the June berries.
You ask to have your berries picked that day that are coming to you, or do you?
We
do
do.
You get by with the day before. Like
We prefer them. We've had better luck with them being picked the day before and then cooled and then shipped to us first thing in the morning. We've had better luck with the shelf life of the berries, and it's also easier, I think, for our staff to think about a day in that sense, and starting in the morning and ending in the night, as opposed to thinking about it starting in the middle of the day and ending the next day, if that makes any sense. So that's been what's been successful for us.
So if they were like delivered to you at 9 o'clock in the morning, pick that morning, would you still, would that scenario work for you?
It would work. It would, yeah. It would work, and we've done that in the past. We found that those berries don't hold up as long as berries that are pre-cooled.
Go ahead.
I've worked with a lot of strawberry growers in Spain and Italy that were exporting to Northern Europe, and in Mexico that were exporting to the United States. And we've always been able to find a way to nutritionally treat the strawberries to get at least 2 or 3 days more shelf life. And we've done that consistently with all sorts of varieties because you're seeing all sorts grow. What I find in the United States, and I've not been up here very long, but I find in the United States is such a focus on variety, they don't think about how to take care of that variety to maximize the genetic potential. But there is a real opportunity there for people that watch their crop and try to understand how to extend the shelf life.
Any growers want to kind of comment on that? Will, you've got your hand up.
I do. I would say that genetics play a major part in that, and I would say that with the current varieties we grow, the June-bearing varieties, it's going to be hard to extend that shelf life much longer than what we're currently getting out of them. I mean, I don't think other people would agree, but one of the keys is the handling of that product after it comes out of the field. And with almost any fresh produce, the sooner you can get that temperature of that fruit, berry, or vegetable down to 34 to 36 degrees, the longer the shelf life is going to be. And then beyond that, there's limitations to that variety. But like Chris is saying, by pre-cooling that, we can get that shelf life a little bit longer on those because we get that temperature from the field down as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's not just, and I mean, when I say cooling, I don't just mean, putting it in the cooler. It's got to be forced air cooling. It's got to get that temperature down, like Will said, as fast as you can get it down.
And I think that's a mirror of what the California growers are doing. You go down there and you see their fields when they're harvesting, they're picking on a cart into a box. It's being taken in minimal handling across the board straight into a cooler. So I don't know, the amount of time, but it's a minimal amount of time, just a few hours from the packing to the cooling. So that is crucial for shelf life, we know, but I don't know if the variety just makes it worse that we've mostly seen in the Northwest, or if it's a combination of things.
We're not going to get a hood to ever have the shelf life of an Albion, and that's a genetic thing. That's not something.
Or any of the new releases.
Or any of the new releases. I I mean,
It's a 40-year-old variety.
yeah. So you gotta, the Albion you can get 5-7 days out of, if you get it cooled down, if you pick it at the right time. I mean, picking timing is crucial on that too. The riper you pick a berry, the shorter the shelf life is gonna be. And we see that with blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. And California gets a long shelf life because they do pick stuff immature. And that might be why we can say ours tastes better, because they're picked a little more mature when we pick them here, because we're not trying to get that shelf life, but that is a major part of it too.
Okay, Matt, go ahead.
So what kind of shelf life difference do you see between the Albion and the Hood?
Significant.
You can see a 5 to 7 day with the Albion up here.
No, I'd say 3, maybe 3 days.
And this is for
That's
cooled, like picked and
Yep.
cooled for both of
That's
those
correct,
varieties?
yes.
But picked right also.
Yeah, exactly.
See the same?
Yeah, I would say the same thing, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to make a comment about, you were speaking of the California cooling system. And not only, I would say, not even 2 hours, because the new thing down there is to have portable coolers in the field as they're picking. So they literally pick and put them in the cooler within 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so she was just talking about portable coolers being kind of the exactly the California way at this point, so they've moved away. But I think cooling in general sounds like it's necessary to have some type of shelf life to some extent. I think we have time for one more question. So if anybody wants to give one last go.
I've got a question, Julie. Was there someone in that? Oh,
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you guys are seeing a difference in what you can pay for local berries versus what you're getting out of California.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. So
Yeah,
price.
absolutely, yeah. And I can't give you an exact, number today, because every year it does seem to fluctuate, but, maybe on average 10 to 20%.
Okay. I thank you both for coming up. It's been most helpful.